Your brain is starving. And honestly, you're probably just blaming it on getting older. But if you're constantly forgetting the little things, or you're feeling a bit slower, struggling to hold that deep focus, well, this explainer is going to completely change how you approach your daily cognitive health.
Now take a deep breath. You are definitely not alone in this. The medical community often just brushes this off as inevitable, aging, but let's debunk that right now. That pervasive mental fog you're dealing with is rarely just an age issue. It is actually a biological supply issue. It's entirely about how you are, or maybe aren't, supporting your brain's fundamental pathways.
Okay, let's dive into this. Peak cognitive function really relies on three non-negotiable biological pillars: steady blood flow, proper nutrient delivery, and balanced stress. When just one of these systems falters, your mental clarity basically disappears. But you don't need synthetic, overwhelming interventions to fix it. We can actually biohack these precise systems using targeted plant-based compounds.
Let's start with the absolute foundation of all cognitive endurance: circulation. And we aren't just talking about general blood flow here. It's about a continuous, uninterrupted supply line of oxygen and nutrients crossing straight into the brain. If that microscopic supply line weakens even a little bit, your neural processing literally throttles itself down just to conserve energy. And that is exactly what causes those frustrating afternoon focus drops.
So how do we support this microcirculation? Well, we start with green tea extract. Now, this isn't just your standard morning beverage. It is literally one of the most rigorously researched compounds for neurooptimization out there. Green tea extract facilitates this incredibly steady, beautifully balanced alertness. The crucial point here is that it dials in your mental clarity without giving you that jittery, anxious spike you get from raw caffeine. It's the perfect tool to stay sharply dialed in.
Next up, we have grapeseed extract. Now, what's really fascinating about this compound is that it specifically targets the structural integrity of your blood vessels. By actively supporting healthy vasodilation, grapeseed extract essentially pushes rich oxygenated blood right up to the brain. Because your neural pathways constantly demand nourishment, optimizing this vascular flow translates almost immediately to faster, sharper mental performance.
And that vascular optimization leads us directly over to bilberry extract. While it's pretty common to pigeonhole bilberry as being strictly for eye health, the real magic is the deep physiological link between your optic nerve and your cognitive centers. Bilberry reinforces this whole vision-brain connection by supporting localized microcirculation. When that system is fully oxygenated, your overall clarity and your visual processing speeds just improve dramatically.
Moving on, we have olive leaf. Often sidelined purely as an immune defense tool, olive leaf is actually an absolute powerhouse for neuropreservation. You see, cognitive decline is heavily tied to systemic stress and imbalance across your whole body. Olive leaf comes in and supports homeostasis right at the cellular level. By keeping your broader physiological systems balanced and defending against oxidative stress, it secures that rock-solid foundation required for high-level cognitive output.
But look, blood flow is really only half the equation here. Fuel stability is the other half. Enter cinnamon, specifically cassia cinnamon. Going way beyond just being a culinary spice, cinnamon plays a highly critical metabolic role in optimizing your insulin sensitivity. Keeping your blood glucose precisely regulated is absolutely vital if you want to sustain mental endurance without completely crashing.
And this brilliantly illustrates the metabolic reality of why blood sugar matters so much to your brain. When your blood sugar spikes, it inevitably triggers a steep glycemic crash, and that drags your neurotransmitter activity right down into the gutter with it. Your focus just shatters. But by using compounds like cinnamon to smooth out those metabolic peaks and valleys, your brain maintains a steady, reliable stream of energy. Basically, metabolic stability equals cognitive stability.
Which brings us back to our third non-negotiable need: balancing stress. And for this, we look at licorice, specifically the glycerizing compound inside it, which is an absolute master at doing exactly this. Unchecked stress just floods your system with cortisol, chemically hijacking your brain into this rigid survival mode, where deep analytical focus is biologically blocked. Licorice helps regulate that stress response, allowing your executive function to organically come back online.
Now, when that stress turns into outright exhaustion, that is when we call on our ultimate adaptogen, Rhodiola. Rhodiola is essentially engineered for profound mental resilience during periods of extreme fatigue. It doesn't just support your physical stamina, it actively delays cognitive burnout when you're under pressure. So when you're burning the midnight oil or facing intense demands, Rhodiola provides that neurochemical gear shift you desperately need to keep executing.
The massive trap we fall into today is operating on this really flawed reactive fixing model. We wait until the fog is thick, until we're forgetting names, or until we just completely hit a wall before we try to intervene. But the biological reality is that proactive support is the only sustainable strategy. Fortifying your brain's vascular and metabolic needs early on, way before the fog sets in, is what actually preserves your cognitive edge.
So I want to leave you with this. Will you wait for the brain fog to throttle your potential, or will you proactively secure your cognitive foundation today? Taking control doesn't require a medical degree. It just requires targeted nutrients, consistent microcirculation, and managed stress. We've actually put together a simple breakdown of how these botanicals work together in the pinned comment below, so you can upgrade your routine immediately. Stay focused, keep optimizing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.